In Big History Project, teaching and learning are built on a set of routines. These elements of the course, such as driving questions, use of rubrics, lesson patterns, and informal writing, help students make sense of the units, lessons, and assessments. They provide coherence while improving thinking, reading, and writing skills. These little patterns within the course make things just predictable enough so students develop good habits, but there's enough variety in the topics discussed to avoid the monotonous one thing after another followed by a test death march that's typical of most courses. We're going to talk about some of the routines themselves. We'll look at each of the driving questions of each unit and why they're important. We'll cover the Big History Project rubrics and how they provide a consistent set of expectations for students. We'll discuss the lesson activities and how they structure the year. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at writing in Big History Projects as it plays a central role. Finally, we'll talk a bit about what goes in the gradebook, since this is what the students really care about. Big History Project's routine use of driving questions is a great example of how we create a coherent narrative as well as interest. Every single unit and most activities begin by posing a big question and gathering students' conjectures. As you know, each unit focuses on one question. In Unit 2, it's how and why do people change their minds? In Unit 5, how are we still evolving? Unit 7 was farming and improvement over foraging. With each video, reading and activity, you're going to invite students to answer, revise, and debate. Of course, students will figure out pretty quickly that they can expect every unit to begin with a big question. Since the big question is different in each unit, it always feels fresh. In the beginning, when you ask students to theorise about what they know or don't know about a topic, they might complain that it's daunting. But we know that beginning with questions and student conjectures will hook them into the content at the same time it will organise what they learn. With each lesson in a unit and with each unit in the course, they refine and expand their understanding. This habit, this routine of beginning with questions and then making and refining conjectures is one of the key practices of historians and scientists. It's also a central routine in Big History Project teaching and learning. Our use of rubrics is another example of a Big History Project routine that helps make the course successful for students. The course uses 3 key rubrics across all of the lessons and activities in the course. There's a writing rubric, a presentation rubric, and a collaboration rubric. We use these rubrics routinely to make sure students really know what good looks like and what we expect from them. Take the writing rubric. It's formally introduced in Unit 3 when students use it to grade a sample student essay. At first, we only expect students to understand that the rows target different features of good writing. Later, students will use that same rubric on a peer's writing. This time, the goal will be to provide specific advice for their fellow students to help them get a better grade. Later on in Units 6 through 8, students will come back to the same rubric to develop a deeper sense of what we mean when we talk about good writing. And then they'll apply this wisdom to the final investigation in Unit 9. Using and reusing the same rubric for slightly different and more sophisticated purposes is a routine that develops students' habits while building common and coherent expectations. Like our repeated use of big questions, student conjectures, and rubrics, we have a common set of activities that create a consistent set of expectations while at the same time improving student thinking. Even though these activities repeat multiple times through the course, students don't get bored because the focus changes and the tasks get more challenging. An added bonus, a lot of them are fun. Take the debates. There are roughly 7 classroom debates requiring students to argue different positions that resolve an important question. We expect the students to make claims and to use claim testers in defending or attacking positions. Yeah, we know this can be rough for the first couple of debates, but by repeating the debate activity at different points in the course, each time debating different issues, students get better and better at constructing coherent arguments and deconstructing their opponent's arguments. They become more sophisticated with each debate. And with each debate, they seem to enjoy the chance to mix it up with the other students in the class more and more. Here again, the structure of the activity, a debate, doesn't change. But since the topic and the skills students use to engage in the activity change, the debates aren't boring. If anything, they become more interesting. This is just one example of an activity with a well-defined routine that we use multiple times in the course. Other examples are what do you know, what do you ask, and 3 close reads. Some of our teachers add in their own routines, which is great. Be generous. Share your routines with our Big History teacher community on Yammer. Let's talk a little bit about writing. Writing routines are a critical feature of the course. Teachers who use Big History Project writing activities, which we think of as writing routines, are seeing impressive growth in their students' ability to write coherent, well-structured, evidence-rich arguments. These writing activities regularly appear over the course's 10 units. No doubt you'll find that some of them are fun and others not so much. But maybe some consolation, even the activities that feel like a chore contribute to improving students' thinking and writing skills. Take the DQ notebook activity that appears at the beginning of each unit. Before they've learned anything from the unit, students use the DQ notebook to capture their conjectures and theories about that unit's driving question. This informal writing routine, it's really just thinking on paper, is critical in developing students' comfort level with writing. First, they learn that not all writing has to be finished writing, and when you think about it, all writing is just thinking on paper. By practicing the act of thinking on paper, students increase their comfort level with writing. Second, when they return to their DQ notebooks at the end of each unit, students can see for themselves how their thinking has changed and developed. If students write consistently throughout the course, ideally a little each day, their writing and their thinking will improve. Okay, let's not fool ourselves. Writing regularly won't be popular with a lot of your students. But as students see that unit by unit their writing is getting better, we're pretty sure they'll see the value of all the practice. And that goes for you too. When you have time, take a look at the writing activities in each of the unit investigations. Each investigation has a pre-writing activity that gives students a chance to capture their thinking on paper in a number of different ways, Venn diagrams to charts to pictures. Let's take a minute to talk about what goes in the gradebook. For many students, this is what really matters. In Big History Project, we try to create opportunities for students to capture what they've learned so far. Throughout the course, we've given you a series of closings. These aren't the same as exit tickets. We've framed these as suggestions for teachers from other teachers about what should be graded and formally recorded in the gradebook. Some are repeating activities like the DQ notebook and this threshold today. Others are essays and investigation revisions. Many teachers use investigations as part of their formal assessment schemes. Some teachers also include the course quizzes, tests, and vocab challenges. A quick warning about that though, this is an online course and it won't take kids more than a minute to figure out that they can get access to the quiz, test, and vocab challenge answer keys. If you're okay with this, then go for it. Recap time. In the Big History Project course, we've created a number of routines to help students deepen their understanding and develop their skills. These routines also work to emphasise how each day connects to the next, each lesson to its unit, and each unit to the larger goals of the course. As you teach the course, remember to routinely use driving questions and student conjectures to help students keep their focus on Big History's big ideas. Use the rubrics regularly to set a high bar for writing, presenting, and collaborating. Repeat activities like debates, 3 close reads, and what do you know, what do you ask, to encourage students to go deeper. If you use the writing routines consistently, you're likely to see powerful outcomes and evidence of growth. Each activity in the course is designed to help students reach a high bar. You can use these activities to build a gradebook that helps students keep track of their progress throughout the year. That's all for now. Be sure to visit the Big History Project community on Yammer to discuss the structure of our lessons and activities.